We're speaking with Livestock SA CEO Travis Tobin about traceability. Travis, how are you going today?
Yeah, good, Ricky. How are you?
Not bad at all, and we've certainly got a running conversation within the sheep and goat industry across our broadcast areas about electronic traceability, which I think everyone's acknowledged needs to happen now after this biosecurity concern over foot and mouth disease. But how is the implementation process going at the South Australian end?
Yeah, we're cracking on, Ricky. As you know, the federal and state ag ministers set a timeline of 1 January 2025, looking to start this mandatory implementation. We don't exactly know how that will be rolled out. Will there be a staged approach? But that's sort of the date everyone's working to at this stage at least. So the work we're doing is now moved into the next phase, and this week we're doing a lot of consultation with industry. So a consultant's been engaged to build the business case, and that consultant is working with the steering committee. So you may recall we put together that open call for a whole of chain steering committee, and this week it's actually really starting to engage with sheep and goat producers, agents, accumulators, feedlots and sale yards, and also the online survey we launched yesterday to really get as many people in the supply chain to provide us information with what they think it will mean for them.
Yeah, we'll talk about that survey in a minute, give the link out, but what is some of the feedback you've heard already through the steering committee process, for instance, about lambs?
Yeah, we know that vendor-bred terminal sire lambs direct to slaughter, people are questioning why do they need tags. They're just going from property to processing. And similarly, there's also issues raised around unmanaged rangeland goats, for example. So, there's elements there that are a bit different to the normal husbandry practices we have with managed animals. And again, it's really just making sure we can capture what are, they're two of the issues that you've raised at the right, what are those and others, and then how do we design a way with implementation that we can make it as effective as possible in South Australia. So, we're not saying we've got all the answers now, but that's the purpose of getting as much information from everyone that's potentially impacted as we can, and then that broader steering committee can start to review the information coming in.
Now, the beef industry's been down this path before, and they worked out a process in terms of how the cost will be borne, but I imagine that is a major consideration, is just how much livestock producers bear as opposed to perhaps other parts of the supply chain.
Yeah, that's right. And the costs haven't been worked out. We don't even know yet what's on the table from the federal government. So there's a committee that's been formed at a national level as well. That sort of started after our process, but that will obviously start to work through what does it look like from a federal perspective. So what are the co-funding arrangement? What are the regulatory impacts? What's the harmonisation of rules across states, all those sorts of things. So that's what that group will be doing. And similarly, we need to do the same process at a state level. So once we've got the best information we have, then we can talk to our government about what we think it looks like from a funding and an implementation perspective. And the funding side's interesting because it's really a case of, well, what lens are you looking through and where's the benefit derived? So it shouldn't just be assumed that it all falls back to the producer, because there'll be different benefits along the chain, and it's not just a producer.
Well, I imagine amongst others, and what we've seen, because Victoria's already got this process, they talk up, I guess, the traceability in terms of livestock handling or animal welfare standards at the farm, as well as even the provenance issues potentially of being able to say, well, this particular meat has come from a certain location or area. Those are sort of benefits a consumer might enjoy, and maybe they need to bear some of the cost for that.
Yeah, that's right. There's a number of benefits besides the obviously one that heightened this activity around the biosecurity and traceability, and then enabling greater response and containment and eradication strategies. But you're absolutely right. It's about provenance of what you're producing. There's marketing elements. There's on-farm productivity benefits if you can measure animals' performance more accurately and quickly, and then respond in management practices accordingly. So there's a number of benefits that will come out, but we also understand that this is a big change for some businesses, not just production businesses, processing businesses, feedlots, accumulators. Everyone's going to be impacted by a different way of doing business, which is why we really do need to get as much information as we can through the next couple of weeks.
And Travis, in terms of getting information, this survey that you've made available online, it's on the Livestock SA website, I gather?
Yeah, it's on the website. We also put out a media release that's got direct links in it if people are reading those on computers or phones, etc. It's not a long survey. You know, they're always a balance, are they, surveys? How do you make them so people will engage with them, but you need to get the information you need? So it's only 8 questions, but it's really about trying to gather who's responding, what are the attitudes to certain things that are happening, you know, or trying to identify the number of animals that are moved and where are they moved, what are the equipment needs that are likely in different groups along the supply chain, and also helping us to do the next piece of work, which is around information provision, implementation, what sort of communications will we need, you know, so all the next phase. So besides getting the nuts and bolts of it through this with presenting the business case to what are the numbers, we then will hopefully get enough information from this survey as well to start to think about that next phase beyond just the numbers.
Now, it looks like if I've gone to the livestocksa.org.au website, if you click Industry Development, it's there under the tabs there, Sheep and Goat Traceability. So get your say in. Is there a sort of closing date when you want these survey responses by?
Yeah, survey closes in a couple of weaks, so we're really wanting people to engage quickly. It's just we've got to keep moving on this. As I said, we want to make sure that South Australia and our livestock production systems are well informed to make this transition. We don't want to, I always use the term, you can either set your own course or you can have policy done to you, so to speak. So this is a case of informing ourselves, preparing ourselves and making sure we're putting forward the case we need to adapt our livestock production systems as best we can here.